Hey, welcome to the channel. My name is Eric, and I thought today we'd take just a few minutes and kind of maybe be helpful to you of how to set your shop up or your work area. It's however you set it up, it's got to work for you, right? So that you know where everything is. So some of the things that we did here in this outer part of the shop, because this used to be all warehouse and the shop was out there. And when we slowed down on the warehousing, I said, let's make this into a, like where I can handle the handhelds and snow blowers and stuff that will fit through the door, where the riders we can't. They got to go out into the main shop. But I wanted it so that it had functionality, something I could work with, that seemed reasonable and logical. So the first thing I wanted in here was air. With a compressor out there, I could set up a smaller compressor in here, which is definitely doable for you guys, whether it's a pancake compressor or like a 20-gallon one that stands upright. We've got the huge ones, the 220s. So instead of having another compressor out here to make more noise, I opted to, all right, let's look into ways that we can get the air from out there into here at a reasonable rate. And the way I come up with it was running the half-inch PVC pipe that for water you can get at the plumbing store and stuff, and they're rated for 400 psi. I didn't know that when I first was looking, because I was looking at running air hose all the way out through here. But as I did the research, I'm like, well, this will hold 400 psi. Our compressor is around 180, 190 where it tops off and stops. So it's below half of what they're rated for. So we end up putting PVC all the way around, and we have drops. And like at the one drop, we have the curlicue. You can get these right here at Harbor Freight and stuff. Amazon, eBay. It's handy because it'll coil itself back up. Now, another option you could have would be like the reels. We have one of those, and it didn't last long. But it is handy to pull it out and then just give her a yank and then take it back so it's not in your way. But I've got a drop here, a drop there, and then at this end of the benches over there, there's a 50-foot roll of it where I can run it so far out to where I want to be. And then I've got another jumper, which is another 50, so I could go all the way to the other side of the road if I wanted to, right from this access here. So that's one way that you could have, you could blow with the compressed air and stuff like that, where you're working on stuff to blow the decks off, to clean around areas before you start tearing everything apart. You use air a lot, right, with the air impacts and the tools. But that was the first thing that we did. We had power out here already. The second thing was lighting. We didn't have a lot of good light. And you did need a lot when you're warehousing. But when you're trying to work on stuff, what I ended up doing was, I think it was on eBay, and the seller was selling them by the 10-pack, and I went with the LEDs, and they work great. And they've been in here now for going on 2 years with no problems. My older style that were the bulbs that were real breakable, they're not as bright. And they don't last that long. And most times what ends up happening is the ballast resistor goes out of them, and then they're shot. If you can go with the LEDs, go with the LEDs, and I think you're going to find that it's cheaper to go with that. And just get yourself so it's nice and well lit, you can look at things. So that's the second thing that I would recommend. The third thing is having your stuff organized. Instead of moving the camera and showing it, you guys know that I have my 220, my 110 welder, and my plasma cutter sitting right here. And I've got all the welding tools over here, the clamps, and other than the angles that I have on the side of my toolbox. But they're handy where I can get to them and bring it over. The other thing is if I'm welding, a lot of times I'm using either the vices or the table here to weld on. So that brings us to the next thing, is having a good workspace to work on. Everything that we've got, we've kind of built ourselves. Claude is one hell of a handyman, everything from repairs to carpentry. So as you look behind me, all these benches and stuff are made either by, 2x4 or 2x2 construction. We use OSB for the shelving top and bottom. You can put a coating on top to so you're not exposing it, or you could paint it. So up to you, whatever works for you. Now, some of the things that I have here on my work area, and this is on wheels, so I can move it. But I have my Oregon chain sharpener that I'll get out if I'm doing a lot of chains. Most of the time, I like to use this vise where I can set the saw here, the blade here, and then the chain will move freely so that I can just give it a touch with the file. If I'm doing one or two, I'd rather do it that way. I got a good feel for it. If I'm doing over 4 or 5, I get the Oregon grinder out and they work great. I've tried the cheapy brands, and I'm sorry, Oregon, you guys put out a good outfit and I love it. We also have where we buy pre-cut or rolls on the reels of saw chain, where we can make up our own right here on this table, and everything is bolted down so that it's, if you're working on chains, here's another thing that might come in handy for you, is you can just bring this around and have a seat. Make sure you're wearing safety gear, and then just simply start sharpening chains. If you want to break the chain down, make a chain, we have everything you need right here. So vices, we have one here, and then I have a bigger one over there. I use a vise a lot, and I think you will too, trying to hold on to things to keep everything centered for you. The other thing that I highly recommend is buying, you don't have to buy top of the line, but these are the cobalts. And you, Jason, got me onto this of, I think you're buying the ones, but they're a lot heavier duty than these. But with these, they're handy because you can just simply, this is all just the bigger fuses, and what I recommend is you take duct tape and tape one side of it and then write on it with a marker what it is, so that when you're stacking them you can walk right over and look and say, okay, there's my big fuses. I got a box just like this of all the small fuses, so it has small fuses. I have the stuff for the 2-cycle, everything from the fuel filters, fuel lines, carburetors, kits, all in another container. All I gotta do is just pull it out, bring it over here to where I'm working, flip it open, work on my 2-strokes, handhelds, put it away when I'm done. Easy peasy, right? But these are handy. You need to have some kind of organization, okay? So you know where stuff is and it's labeled. Here I have a battery charger that will either trickle charge or go right up to 200 amp boost. I've got 2 more out in the bays where Claude is, so that we could actually be charging 3 batteries at the same time if we wanted to. They're the ones on wheels that you can pull. They're nice to have. Another thing to keep in mind is when it comes to tools and stuff, especially when you start working on carburetors, the fuel shutoffs on the bottom, a lot of times it's hard to get a wrench in there because your average wrench is kind of thick, right? So what you do is you go to yard sales, garage sales, auctions, and pick up a bunch of cheap sets. You don't need to ruin your Snap-on, your Craftsman, your Husky, your Cobalts, any of that. Just buy, even Harbor Freights are fine. But what I'm getting at is when you wear safety gear too, but it's too thick to try to get in to take that fuel solenoid off, where if you took the grinder, started it up, and just started grinding it down so that it was thin, you have to be careful because you get it too tempered and then it's going to be brittle. But just take it down enough so that, and then designate that wrench just for that job. If you're working on other stuff where you don't need to have that thin wall, go with your good ones, right? But we do that as well here, and screwdrivers, where they get pinged and used as a hammer and a chisel. You can bring them back with the grinder. We use this grinder a lot, and we don't bolt it down so that we can have it over here. The other thing that I would recommend is when you're working, at least with me, if I'm working on editing videos and stuff like that, or doing paperwork, I have a TV here that I can watch TV, direct TV. And if I'm working on stuff, I'll have the TV going just for noise, or I do have a radio that I turn the radio on. It just kind of makes the day go faster. You're listening to your country or whatever floats your boat. Tools. You gotta have some rhyme or reason of where your tools are. And the better you are at being able to find your tools, the quicker you are to get a job done. Now, my thought process since my surgery and stuff, which is hard for me sometimes to figure out things, is I know where everything is in my toolbox. But if I come over here and I work on something, and then I get that done, and then I go to start working on something else and don't take care of my tools, I can't find them because they end up getting misplaced on the floor everywhere else. So what I do is when I get done with this job, I put my tools back and then I take it out for the next job, unless I know I'm going to need it on that second job. You can set up a bench with all your handhelds right close. And what I do is I have on this wall, the wall of shame, is the most common stuff that I use. And the stuff that I don't use as much, I put farther away, if that makes any sense. Using the pull draws, you know, for your knickknacks, your small bolts, your nuts and stuff like that works good too. We have bolt bins where we can just pull out the thing and look and have it. Same thing with all of our wiring for electrical and stuff like that. I have just boxes right full of brand new stuff that we can just flip open, go through it, get what you need, put the stuff away, and that way you know where it is when you get done to go get it the next time. Keeping your work area somewhat clean. I'm not a clean freak by any means, but I like things that look halfway decent, you know, presentable, so that when customers come in, they're not looking at, you know, look like a tornado had come through and screwed everything all up in here. But what it boils down to is, it doesn't matter how I do it, it's what works best for you and what's going to give you where everything is right within hand's distance. You know, you don't need an Oregon chain sharpener if you're just doing a few chains a year, you know, or doing your own. If you're doing a lot of them, like I do, it comes in handy, but if it's just for a couple, I'll put it in the vise. And because after a couple chains, my hands will start cramping. So that's why I've got that. We do a lot of chains here for people. A lot of customers will bring them in by the 4 or 5 pack, drop them off, Eric, get them sharpened for me, give me a shout when they're ready. And I can usually have a chain done in about 5 minutes, hanging up. And the thing I like with the Oregon chain sharpener is if you have one that, you know, where you touched it and it's starting to run on you so that you're doing a U shape instead of a nice cut. If I put that into there, I can get the same hit every time. So sometimes you'll see a lot more sparks coming off. That's because it's bringing everything back to the same point on both sides of the chain. In the comments, what do you do that makes your workspace easier to work in and makes sense to you? On that note, you guys have a great day, and thanks again so much for watching and supporting the channel.